Good morning, and welcome to Bay Area Unitarian Universalist Church. My name is Steve Jordan, and I will be your worship associate this morning. I can do this. Whew. This morning, Texas UU Justice Ministries intern minister, artist, and organizer Bis Thorton has joined us all the way from Austin. For those of you that are not aware, the Texas UU Justice Ministry is our statewide justice organization for UUs here in Texas. Bis, a UU who graduated from a Presbyterian seminary, will explore what the story of Moses and his journey leading people to freedom can teach UUs today in our quest for justice and liberation. Welcome, Bis. And welcome, all of you, to this sanctuary. In this sacred space, may you find yourself truly safe. Safe to be your authentic selves. Safe to question. Safe to believe. As we gather, let us remember the sacred interconnectedness that binds us and the call to justice that echoes in our hearts and guides our actions in the world. Alex Trout will light our chalice this morning. Our chalice lighting comes from Lindsay Bates. She writes, "To face the world's shadows, a chalice of light. To face the world's coldness, a chalice of warmth. To face the world's terrors, a chalice of courage. To face the world's turmoil, a challenge of peace. May its glow fill our spirits, our hearts, and our lives." The opening song this morning is number 318 in your gray hymnals, "We Would Be One." Feel free to use your hymnal if you like to read music, or you can follow the words, which will be up here on the screen up front. Please rise as you're willing and able. Reverend Margaret Weiss writes, "The church is not a place, it is a people. The church is not only a steeple above the tree-lined streets and cars, rather it is a people proclaiming to the world that we are here for the work of healing and justice. The church is not walls built stone upon stone, held together by mortar, but rather person, linked with person, linked with person. all ages and genders and abilities, a community built on the foundation of reason, faith, and love. The church is not a set of doors open on Sunday morning, but the commitment day after day and moment after moment of our hearts creaking open the doors of welcome to the possibility of new experience and radical welcome. The church is not simply a building, a steeple, a pew. The church is a gathering together of all the people and experiences and fear and love and hope in our resilient hearts, gathering however we can to say to the world, welcome, come in, lay down your heartaches, and pick up hope and love. For the church is us, each and every one of us, together a beacon of hope to this world that so sorely needs it. So with these words in mind, please join me in saying our covenant, which begins with the word, love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship. Thus do we covenant with one another.
Good morning, y'all. It's good to see you. No, thank you. It was very coordinated. I feel like no letter was apart from another person. That was fun. Good morning. My name is indeed Bis Thornton. I am indeed visiting you from the Texas UU Justice Ministry as the intern minister all the way from Austin. And my pronouns are he and she. You can use them interchangeably or pick one. Those are your choices. And I am here this morning to talk to you about the story of Moses from a UU perspective, an educated UU perspective from my Presbyterian seminary days. And so to kind of get us settled into that story together, I'd like to lead you in a call and response sort of prayer to kind of wake up our voices and our attention. And so when I go like this, and I'll try to telegraph it real big, I'd like to invite you to say the words spoken by many prophets throughout the Bible when they are called by God by name. They say, "Here I am." Try it. Here I am. Beautiful. This is ooh. You never know. You go around to different churches and some people are really good at the call and response. They're I'm ready. So that was fun. Thank you. One more time. Here I am. Beautiful. All right. We are called to be with one another. We are called to be with the divine all around us. We are called to be with the divine all within us. We are called to be with the divine in each other. We are called to be with ourselves and with each other, and so we are called to be with the oppressed. We are called to be with the exploited. We are called to be with all who need healing and justice. We are called to be with what is within us and without us, and so we are called to be with the land. We are called to be with the air. We are called to be with the water. We are called to be with the divine all around us. We are called to be with the divine all within us. We are called to be with the divine and each other. We are called to be with each other. Amen.
Good morning. My name is Gloria Miller, and I am the Lifespan Director of Religious Education here at Bay Area Unitarian Universalist Church. And my pronouns are she, her. Our Time for All Ages today is entitled, I Am Human, A Book of Empathy, by Susan Verde and art by Peter Reynolds. I was born a miracle, one of billions, but unique. I am human. I am always learning. I'm finding my way and choosing my path on this incredible journey. I have big dreams. I see possibility. I have endless curiosity. I make discoveries. I have a feeling of wonder, and I'm amazed by nature. I have a playful side. I find joy in friendships. I am human. But being human means I am not perfect. I make mistakes. I can hurt others with my words, my actions, and even my silence. I can be hurt too. I can be fearful of things that I don't yet understand and timid to try something new. I have a heavy heart when I feel sadness. I'm human. But then I remind myself that because I am human, I can make choices. I can move forward. A poor choice can become a better choice with thoughtfulness. A bad day can become a great day with kindness. I can act with compassion and lend a helping hand. I can treat others with equality and fairness. I can choose not to fight, but instead to listen and find common ground. And I can say, I'm sorry, and ask for forgiveness. I am human. One of billions, but unique. And I am not alone. I am connected. I'm connected to my friends, to my family, and to the world. We are all humans together. Our keeper of the flame, I'm going to ask Remy, would you be our keeper of the flame today? Oh, wonderful.
Ours is a welcoming community where we find connection, a spiritual community where we find meaning. Ours is a sharing community where our joys are amplified, a caring community where our sorrows are lessened. We take this moment to reflect on our joys and sorrows and acknowledge the mutual support of our community. We light the red candle this morning, holding in our hearts Minnesota State Representative Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark, who were tragically killed early Saturday morning. This light reflects our sorrow and acknowledges the volatile nature of our world, where escalating conflicts demand our urgent attention and compassion. We light the white candle this morning as a beacon for the courageous individuals who marched yesterday. Their dedication to speaking out against policies that jeopardize our common good inspires us to act for a more just and peaceful world. At this time, feel free to come forward and light a candle for special joy or sorrow. If you would like a candle brought to you, please raise your hand and we will bring one to you.
Friends, let us now enter into a time of prayer, meditation, contemplation, and a time of breathing together. If you'd like to take a breath with me. Often when I need a breath, I need a stretch too. If you need a stretch, have a stretch. We are in the presence of the Spirit of life, compassion, and love, as we always are. It moves among us and between us and within us. It draws us near one another to celebrate joy, to create delight, to grieve sorrows. Any moment we may turn ourselves towards it, like leaves turning towards the sun, and the sunbeams shine through us, through every brilliant cell of our bodies, our own interconnected web of life that connects us to the whole. Much is heavy on our hearts these days. This Spirit, with its many holy names, meets us in our hearts with compassion. And our hearts are heavy with grief for all the world. Some of us weep, and some of us march, and some of us pray. Holy Spirit of many names, hear our prayers, hear our grief, hear our wishes for a better world. We live amidst injustice, and even as we come alive with renewed commitment to loving the hell out of this world, these days, we also feel frightened, enraged, perplexed, disillusioned, depressed, sometimes numb. Some of us feel guilty or inadequate, even those of us who fight the hardest. And yet, amidst this, we feel joy. We encounter it like a bright sunbeam cutting through the clouds, like a blade of grass on a dewy morning, like the song of a bird. Spirit, there is more too that we cannot even speak, but you know our hearts, and receive even the deepest recesses of shame and confusion with compassion. Spirit of life, Spirit of justice, help us hold all of this at once, in fellowship, in community, in love. May we find one another, and in so doing, find you. And when we find you in the hearts of our neighbors, may we sense your holy spark within ourselves as well. May it be so. Now let us rise as we are willing or able and sing our prayer in song, There Is More Love Somewhere. That's number 95 in the gray hymnal, I think, and also projected. In the land of Egypt, there is a river, and once upon a time, a woman put her son in that river to save his life. She wove a basket out of papyrus and made it watertight with bitumen and pitch, and then she put her son inside and set him into the water as his sister watched. Maybe you know this story. If not, well, it's the story of Moses as told in the book of Exodus from the Bible. As UUs, I know that we have a lot of different relationships to the Bible as sacred text or not at all. Some of us never think about it because it is completely irrelevant to our spiritual lives. Some of us associate it with pain, loneliness, or abuse. Some of us hold it near and dear to our hearts as a holy text through which we might get a glimpse of the sacred. And some of us feel something else, or some mixture of those things, or something else completely that I haven't even thought of. And I love that about our faith that we get to share together. It's a beautiful tradition that we have that has room for all of that and more. As for me, as your brother and sister in Unitarian Universalism, I adore the Bible. And I hope my love and dedication to this text as a primary aspect of my own spiritual life shines through to y'all today. Also, as part of the Texas UU Justice Ministry, we do a lot of interfaith work for justice, and we found that whatever our individual beliefs and experiences, it is valuable for us to be open, understanding, and at least somewhat fluent in the spiritual language of justice that other faiths use. So, even if this doesn't do anything in particular for you, I would like to invite you into a spiritual practice of curiosity in service of justice today. Perhaps asking yourself questions like, I wonder what wisdom we might gain from this story about how our religious siblings within Unitarian Universalism and throughout the wider interfaith struggle for justice might understand the world. So, that was my preamble. The story of Moses is a story about many things. It's a story about what we owe to who and why. It's a story about belonging and not belonging, and then belonging again. It's a story about home and where home really is, but perhaps most of all and most famously, it is a story about freedom. When was the last time you felt free? Have you ever felt it? Would you know it if you had? As soon as I ask myself that question, I hear Nina Simone in my head singing, I wish I knew how it would feel to be free. So maybe we don't know what freedom is, but maybe you've caught a glimpse, and maybe the baby in that basket caught a glimpse one day too. Let me set the stage a little bit better. Whenever you tell stories from the Bible, it's like context, 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 context. It's a really long book. I'll set the stage a little bit better. The book of Exodus tells it like this. Long ago, in the land of Egypt, there was once a man named Joseph. He was a Hebrew man who lived in Egypt for a long time. Joseph gained the Pharaoh's trust by interpreting the Pharaoh's dreams, and Joseph became a powerful man in Egypt, ushering in a time of great prosperity. I think that's cool. He uses his magic powers to become powerful. It's fun. Anyway, he also has a coat that's very famous from a musical. Anyway, Joseph. After he died, because he eventually did, a new Pharaoh rose up, and he forgot all about Joseph. He no longer saw the Hebrew people as his countrymen, but rather as a dangerous foreign force living within Egypt. He despised and distrusted the Hebrew people, and so he ordered all the Egyptians to treat them with cruelty. He ordered the Hebrew midwives to kill any baby Hebrew boy that was born. But the brave midwives secretly refused, and they let all of the babies live. Eventually, Pharaoh notices that there's a bunch of little baby Hebrew boys running around, and he gets very angry and demands an explanation from the midwives. And they gave one. They said, because the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women, for they are vigorous and give birth before the midwives arrive. There was already a baby there. What could I do? So, brave midwives. Unfortunately then, Pharaoh, realizing he has been sort of outmaneuvered, he orders all of the Egyptians to kill any baby Hebrew boy that they find. And this sounds awful, and it sounds familiar. Those in power slicing up the population into good and bad, native and foreign, rightful owners of land and illegal criminal invaders, despite the fact that no one is illegal on stolen land. Many of our so-called leaders may not have literally called upon us to murder children, but they seek to destroy all of the social supports that allow children to survive and thrive. When schools are defunded and parents don't make a living wage and healthcare is unaffordable and food assistance programs are whittled down to nothing, and still we send our children to school with fear in our hearts for their safety from gun violence, how is our world so different from Pharaoh's? I do have to say that argument, I put a little bit extra weight behind it when I am not preaching the day after a protest called No Kings. I think it's an easier sell right now to say, I think this is the Pharaoh's world. When I think of children who are marginalized by poverty, racism, transphobia, and more, I see this pattern even more clearly. Some children are being targeted more than others. As I was introduced with, I am proudly a graduate of Austin Presbyterian Theological Seminary, where there is an annual conference called Hesed. It's organized by students of color and highlights voices of color in justice work around the country and around the world. There's always an online component, so this is my little pitch for them that they're not paying me to do, but there's always an online component. If this sounds cool to you, you can check it out. It's usually in February or March. So you would have missed it, but there's another one. Okay. In 2023, the Hesed keynote speaker was the Reverend Dr. Stephen Ray, who is the president of Chicago Theological Seminary and the president of the Society for the Study of Black Religion. In his 2023 Hesed keynote address, the Reverend Dr. Ray talked about why marginalized children are targeted by hate groups. And when I heard him talk about it, I felt like I understood so much more about the world around me. He said that the hateful targeting of marginalized children has two interrelated effects on the entire community. It teaches children that the adults around them cannot protect them, and it teaches adults that they cannot protect children. This shatters communities emotionally, psychologically, spiritually. I felt the reality of this deep in my bones. As Dr. Ray brought this illumination to my mind, he also brought a deep grief to my heart. I thought of all the trans kids I had met throughout my life, how badly I wanted to protect them, how afraid I become for them. I thought of people mocking trans kids at press conferences I've been at and how I didn't know how to make them stop. I thought of all the trans kids trapped in abusive families and how trans adults have become painted as threatening interlopers to family lives. We can't get to each other, so I can't protect them. And I thought of all the stories I've heard during the legislature this year, which we made it to the end of, yay. But I heard a lot of horrible things there, stories of trans kids and immigrant kids who are being especially targeted right now. And I imagined how this might play out all across the world, and I wondered at the depth of pain created by this tactic, passed down generation to generation. Children separated from parents in boarding schools, concentration camps, conversion therapy camps, plantations, factories, detention centers. And more broadly, we learn this same lesson again and again, watching others in our communities of any age being struck down by the violence of the powerful. We learn, I cannot protect you. You cannot protect me. I see the world of the Pharaoh here and now, not so far away in time or space. But I also see the midwives in this story all around me. I see people learning to protect their communities. I see people refusing to do the violence being demanded of them. I was looking through y'all's order of service with your, I should have written this down so I wouldn't go into the microphone. All of the different stuff that y'all are organizing right now, know your rights, community gardens, getting food and clothes for children. I see people taking care of their communities everywhere. I see the midwives all around me. Maybe the midwives tell a couple of cheeky lies to Pharaoh in the process. They give birth too fast. We don't know what happened. We came too late. I will say, if the long arm of the law comes to us, let us remember this beautiful story and then proceed to be even wiser than the wise midwives and remember the ancient and sacred practice of shut your mouth and call a lawyer. This is the world of the Pharaoh. And this is the world that baby Moses was born into. Can you believe we've gotten this far and we haven't really talked about Moses? We're getting there. Here's the next part of the story. Long ago in the land of Egypt, a baby boy was born into the world where the Pharaoh wanted him dead. And so his mother hid him for 3 months, his cries filling her with terror until she could hide him no longer. She wove together that basket and made it waterproof and sent her baby off in a river, while his older sister kept an eagle-eyed watch on him the whole way. I don't know if the baby had a name yet. I actually don't think he did, but his sister's name was Miriam, and she grew up to be a prophet. In fact, maybe she already was one in her own way. Just as the baby in the basket was flowing down the river, the daughter of the Pharaoh went into the river to bathe, where she discovered a baby inside of a basket. As you might expect, the baby was crying, and as you might hope, she took pity on him, saying, "He must be one of the Hebrews' children." Just then, brave little Miriam ran up to the daughter of the Pharaoh and said, very helpfully, just like the midwives, "Shall I go and get you a nurse from the Hebrew women to nurse the child for you? That would be my pleasure to do this for you, ma'am." And the Pharaoh's daughter said yes, and so Miriam took her baby brother right back to their mother, who was able to raise him. And she no longer feared his crying at night. Perhaps Miriam studied under the midwives. She learned how to speak cleverly to power, but she also learned not to believe the lie of Pharaoh. She did not think, "I cannot protect you, you cannot protect me." She believed, "I can protect you." So she followed her brother and saved him. Her faith made her brave. So thanks to his sister, Moses grew up. The Egyptian world of the powerful saw him as the son of the Pharaoh's daughter, but her family knew the truth. He was their son. But the truth was complicated. Moses was given an Egyptian name by the Pharaoh's daughter, and he seems to have grown up suffering of the ignorant of the suffering. He grew up ignorant of the suffering of his own people. He saw this suffering for the first time as an adult, which, as you might imagine, was an enormous shock to him. He was overwhelmed by the pain and the indignity of it all. It happened like this. Moses saw an Egyptian man beating a Hebrew man, and Moses murdered the Egyptian and hid his body in the sand. Once the Pharaoh discovered what Moses had done, Moses feared for his life, and he fled to a land called Midian. There in Midian, Moses met Jethro, the priest of Midian, and Moses married one of Jethro's daughters, who was named Zipporah, and they had a son. Moses lived in Midian for many, many years, where he tended to Jethro's sheep out in the wilderness. I don't know what Moses was feeling while he was out there in Midian, but I wonder what this was like. Faced with the overwhelming suffering of his own people, he murdered someone and then fled the country. I wonder what his childhood taught him. I wonder if he wasn't able to learn from the midwives like his sister Miriam did, because he had to pretend to be an Egyptian, because he couldn't live with the rest of his Hebrew family. I know that my transness draws me to certain metaphors, but they are the metaphors that I have. And I see in Moses the stories of many of us who have been severed from ourselves and from our people. I wonder if this childhood taught him fear and isolation. I wonder if it taught him to believe in the lie of Pharaoh's violence. "I cannot protect you. You cannot protect me." And I wonder if that's why he ran away and stayed away for so long. And one day, long ago, in the land of Midian, Moses brought Jethro's flock beyond the wilderness to Horeb, the mountain of God. There, beyond the wilderness, far from any place he had ever called home, he saw a fire. Imagine you're a shepherd, charged with the care of your father-in-law's sheep. They go this way and that in search of food, in search of land. You keep them from predators and from dangerous cliffs. You have felt drawn towards a great mountain, beyond the boundaries of any place you have ever traveled with these sheep before, perhaps much further than you've ever been in your life. Here, with these vulnerable animals who are under your care, far from familiar shelter, far from any person you know, and without any way to contact them, far from home, you see a fire. No people. Will it blaze out of control? Will it destroy this wilderness? Will it eat the shrubs and the sheep and all the wildlife here in this mountain? Will it spread from plant to plant until there is nothing left at all? In your fear, you stare at the fire and you see it consumes nothing at all. It is flashing out from a bush, but the bush is not consumed. It remains. How strange. Moses, encountering this strange thing, felt that he had to get a closer look. And as he turned his eyes towards the flame, the voice of God came out of the bush and shouted his name, "Moses, Moses." And Moses replied, as countless prophets before and since have replied, saying, "Here I am." And there in the land of Midian, in the wilderness beyond the wilderness, God spoke to Moses and sent him back to Egypt to free his people. Moses was scared, but God talked him through it. Finally, he had caught up to his older sister who saved him all those years ago. Finally, his faith had made him brave. But how did that happen? What was different? What did God tell him? Luckily, I read the book, so I can tell you. I love a cliffhanger in the middle of like an ancient text. So when Moses felt scared and uncertain, God had to talk Moses through a lot of different fears. And God did have answers to all of them. I guess you're allowed to be a know-it-all when you're God. But I want to tell you the part of that conversation that I'm always the most struck by. The midwives and Miriam knew how to speak. They were clever and effective. Moses was not. When God tells him to go back to his people and tell them all that God has told him, Moses says, "Oh, my Lord, I have never been eloquent, neither in the past nor even now that you have spoken to your servant, but I am slow of speech and slow of tongue." God tells him basically, don't worry about it. I make everybody talk, so I'll make you talk good, which was not helpful because Moses insisted, saying, "Oh, my Lord, please send someone else." I've been there. And God does get mad at him for a second. But then, here's the important part. God says, "Okay, well, what of your brother Aaron, the Levite? I know that he can speak fluently. Even now, he's coming to meet you, and when he sees you, his heart will be glad. You shall speak to him and put the words in his mouth, and I will be with your mouth and with his mouth, and I will teach you what to do. It's all going to be okay." So in his fear, Moses still believed he was alone. It made it impossible for him to do what he had to do. God felt frustrated, but then God sent him what he needed, another person. And this is how Moses learns to disbelieve the lie of Pharaoh's world. This is how Moses begins to believe, I can protect you. You can protect me. This is how his faith finally made him brave. We have been living in a frightening world. The rot of injustice in our country runs deep, and in the past 6 months, we have seen an exhausting escalation of everything our faith tells us is wrong. Here's what I've seen. Friends moving out of state, people afraid to leave their homes, justice workers burning out and dropping out, loved ones getting sicker and sicker. I bet we've all got stories in this room from 2025. I'm scared and I'm exhausted, and I bet you are too. And this is normally where there would be a call to action, right? Get up and do something. But I'm going to say get your rest where you can. Take your time alone when you need it. And when you find yourself running to Midian, running into the wilderness, running beyond the wilderness, take heart. For in that unknown land, there is a fire which burns without consuming, a sacred chalice of love which shines in the darkness, a sparkling reminder of the interdependent web of all existence, of which you and I and all things are a part. It will remind you that you are not alone, that it is not too late, that you can learn from the midwives and learn from your sister, that your brother can speak for you when you cannot do it. It will remind you that the impossible may happen. A bush may burn without being damaged. A staff may become a snake in the hands of a prophet, and our people will be free. I can protect you. You can protect me. And here we are together, and we cannot help but be together. The nature of all existence makes us inseparable. By this faith, we will be brave. By this faith, we may do the sacred work of justice. For by this faith, when love itself calls us to that justice, we will be able to turn towards it and speak the words of all the prophets who are called by God to free the people. Here I am. Thank you. Amen.
We are a people of abundance, rich in spirit and blessed to have this wonderful church to call our own. It is in sharing what we have and working together that we live out our mission to change lives and heal the world. This mission calls us to see ourselves as part of something larger, to recognize and engage with societal systems and cultural attitudes. Your contribution of time, talent, and treasure to this church are one way of living out this call. As we pass the plate this morning, please give with a generous heart. Please join me in saying, "This gift from the abundance of my life blesses me, our ministries, and the world." And now let's talk about more ways we can be involved. The Hispanics Advancing Cultural and Education, otherwise known as HACE, in partnership with the Metropolitan Organization, is hosting a town hall meeting on next Tuesday, June 17th at 6:30 p.m. This is an opportunity to connect with the community in a meaningful way. Attorneys and knowledgeable individuals will be present to answer questions regarding legal and community resources. If you're interested in solar panels and backup batteries and aren't sure where to start, well, we have a workshop for you. On Wednesday, June 18th at 6 o'clock in Cockrell Hall, the premier solar advocacy group, Solar United Neighbors, will explain how to get started and the resources that can help. And this Thursday, June 19th at 6 o'clock, join us for the next meeting of the Bay Area Covenant of Unitarian Universalist Pagans, CUPS. The group meets on the first and third Thursdays of every month in the church sanctuary. And CUPS will also be doing the service next Sunday, so please come for that. Starting Sunday, July 13th at 12:30, we'll be hosting the workshop, "I'm Dead, Now What?" This four-part workshop is designed to help you organize your thoughts and gather important documents to share your end-of-life plans and wishes with your loved ones. You can register for the class by using the QR code that you see up here. Watch the weekly email blast for more details. The next meeting of the Clear Lake Small Group of PFLAG is next Sunday at 2 p.m. in the church sanctuary. PFLAG meets here at BAUUC on the fourth Sunday of every month. And after today's service, everyone is welcome to join us for coffee and fellowship in Cockrell Hall. That's, if you don't know, that's go down here, take a left, and it's down in the next building over here. It's still connected, but it's the new part of it, I should say. Come to mingle over coffee and light snacks. Let's come together and share some quality time as a community. And each week, BAUUC, and these lips aren't working this morning. Each week, BAUUC sends out a weekly email with details of all our upcoming events. If you're not on our mailing list, you can sign up using the QR code on the screen. Now, if you'll please join me for our last verse, number 1015. This is in the Teal hymnal. I know I can. Please rise as you're willing and able.
In the spirit of sensing interconnectedness, especially across this big old state, I'd like to share with y'all, I got an extinguishing and a benediction. So my extinguishing is the first chalice extinguishing that I ever learned as a UU, and I learned it at my home church at First UU Church of Austin. So I'm here to share it with y'all today. Perhaps you have heard it. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we hold in our hearts until we are together again. May we always remember, I can protect you, you can protect me. May we all bring love into the world one day at a time until we are all free. May it be so. Thank you. being up there with me. That was lovely.